Hello, Lucy and Conrad and Caleb. Man, Papa is ready to jump into more of our story about the X-Men versus the Juggernaut. And you know what? I even have Professor X standing by to listen to the story. Of course, he already knows how it ends. But I'm not going to give a lot of introduction because I'm just going to show the front cover, and it asks the question, where walks the Juggernaut? Well, we know where he walks. He's walking straight toward Professor X. And look, the X-Men are ready to defend him. And not only the X-Men, but the Human Torch is going to be part of this story. Wow. Well, let's see what the story says. The editor is going to give us a little bit of an introduction, but look at this image. We see Professor X, and he's standing in front of the mighty Juggernaut, who is straddle-legged, ready to advance and attack. All right, here we'll catch up on the story right here. Last issue, we saw how Cain Marko, the sinister stepbrother of Professor X, stumbled onto the long-lost Temple of Sitarak during the Korean War, daring to touch the forbidden ruby, thereby transforming himself into a human juggernaut. And now, obsessed with a burning desire to destroy his stepbrother, he has found Professor X at last. And Professor X looks at his stepbrother, realizing his strength and power, and he thinks, he smashed through our strongest defenses as though they were cardboard, and now this is the moment I've dreaded for years. As the deadly Juggernaut steadily approaches until he is almost upon the motionless professor, the other X-Men, dazed and shaken, slowly recover from the staggering impact of the relentless attack. "Whew," says Iceman. "Was he for real?" B says, "No mere hallucination could have hit us like that, my frigid friend." "Quickly, girl," says Professor X. "Stay with the others. I will face the Juggernaut." "You can't, Professor," answers Marvel Girl. "Not alone." But Professor says, "You have your orders. Obey them." And the Juggernaut says, "Those are the last orders you're ever going to give, my long-lost stepbrother." Cyclops says, "Don't anyone move. This is the Professor's inning." "But what happens," asks Angel, "if the Prof can't stop him? What happens indeed?" It took me all these years to free myself of the tons of stone I had been buried under in Korea. But the wait was worth it, because I planned this triumphant moment all that time. See the power of the Juggernaut. My body is so charged with boundless energy that I exude waves of force, even when standing still. Professor realizes he's speaking the truth. The sheer aura of strength about him is enough to push my wheelchair back. "And now," continues the Juggernaut, "I've toyed with you long enough. I cannot restrain myself another minute. You must be destroyed now and forever." "You forget one thing," threatens the Professor. "I still have a weapon, the supreme weapon." "You're bluffing," says Juggernaut, "but it won't help you. What weapon can you possibly have to stop me?" And the Professor says, "My mutant brain," and he sends out his mental brain waves to attack the Juggernaut. After uttering those 3 words, Professor X lapses into dead silence, concentrating, focusing every iota of mental power he possesses, sending a beam of sheer mental energy at his oncoming foe, a beam mighty enough to topple a mastodon. But After reeling from the initial jolt, the Juggernaut continues his deadly advance. He says, "The crimson bands of Sitarak, which gave me my power, also gave me my psionic helmet, capable of protecting me from any mental attack." "He's gone too far," says Cyclops, and he cries, "X-Men, attack!" "I'll tackle him, Cyclops," answers Marvel Girl, "as we planned." And so Marvel Girl lifts him up with her mental power. "There, I'll try to teleport him long enough for you to move the professor to safety." "This won't help you," says Juggernaut. "I cannot be stopped." "Just a few seconds more," says Cyclops. "That's all I'll need." "I can't hold him," says Marvel Girl. "He's shattering my telekinetic power." Cyclops says, "It's all right. You gave us the time we needed." Whack! He shoots his I-beam down into the ground. "Release him now." "Excellent, my X-Men," says the professor. "That will give you a few minutes respite." Marvel Girl says, "I never felt such sheer power. My head, it's still aching." Cyclops says, "I made the hole as deep as I could. It should hold him." "You're whistling in the dark, Cyke," says Iceman. "You know he can force his way out of anything." "But till he does, we have a second chance," says Cyclops. "Angel, help the professor into his chair." "Easy, sir," says Angel. "You'll be all right now." And look, with his wings, he lifts the professor up while Cyclops adjusts his chair. "What's our next stratagem, sir?" asks the Beast. "We must find something to smash his defense, to injure him," answers the professor. "And look over here, Iceman is dropping a few ice boulders down. I'll drop a few forget-me-nots on our pal down there." I don't know that those boulders are going to do much good, but they've got to try, don't they? "Jean, help me to my lab, quickly," says the professor. "Beast, you and Iceman bring me all the component parts of my new Minto helmet, which you can find." Marvel Girl thinks, to others he's just a helpless man in a wheelchair, but when I see him like this, I sense courage and power such as few humans can comprehend. And so Marvel Girl uses her mental power to push the professor along to his lab. And the Beast bounces along the walls and says, "Don't dawdle, Bobby boy. This is urgent." Well, as if the Iceman didn't know, right? "Good thing you told me, Hank. I might have thought we were all at a maypole dance." And so as the Beast bounces in one direction, the Iceman slides in another direction. Moving with the speed and skill of a master, Professor Charles Xavier works like a man possessed as the crucial seconds tick by. And here comes the Beast. He's got two instruments carried by his feet. He says, "This is the last of it, sir." "At ease, Hank," says Iceman. "The prof wants dead silence." Can y'all be dead silent? Enough, let's go. "All right, there, it's ready now," says the professor. "As you may have guessed, the purpose of this device is to intensify my brain waves, make them even more powerful than they normally are. But there is always the chance that they still will not be strong enough to stop the Juggernaut. So I will sit here while the power coils continually charge. Each additional second will add to my mental strength. My mental power is already so highly charged that I must unleash some energy." And so some energy goes out from his brain, and it extends across the city. I'll send mental waves out over the heart of the city. Releasing them will act like a safety valve to me. Meantime, get back to that hole in the floor. It will not stop Juggernaut's attack much longer. And even as the professor speaks, we see the Juggernaut with his aura of power at the bottom of the hole, and he's thinking, haven't they realized yet that nothing can hold back the Juggernaut? This slight delay will only make my final moment of triumph all the more satisfying. When I received my power in the hidden temple of Sitarak, I became unstoppable. Everything must give way to the Juggernaut's attack, even a solid wall of earth. Whoom! He strikes at the wall, and look, he's digging out holes to create a ladder. Thus no pit can hold me, for I possess the power to hammer my own hand and footholds. Thok, ruck, thok, ruck. And he beats handholds and footholds and begins to climb out. He's coming, Psyche, says Angel. I'll swoop down and head him off. No, says Cyclops, stay where you are. And so Cyclops shoots down his energy beam, trying to stop the Juggernaut. The fools, thinks the Juggernaut, I'll show them how easily I can charge through their laughable defenses. The Cyclops thinks my own force beam is stronger and less dangerous. Is it working? Asks Angel. Are you forcing him back? I can't tell, answers Cyclops. The glare from my optic ray is too blinding, but I don't feel any resistance. What could have happened to him? Well, we see what's happening. He's digging a tunnel right underneath Cyclops. And Juggernaut thinks he'll get his answer in exactly 2 seconds. Sure enough, whoom! Cyclops realizes he's right under us, Angel. Quick, take to the air. Psych! Hollers Angel. And the Juggernaut says, no puny teenagers can trap the Juggernaut. And Angel is flying around, and he thinks Psyche's force beam can't hold Juggernaut back. It's only slowing him down slightly. I've got to distract him, make him turn from Scott and attack me. And as Cyclops aims his I-beam right directly at Juggernaut, he keeps pressing his advantage, and he says, I'll crush you like a flea. Stay with it, Psyche, says Angel. I'll keep him too busy to follow through. And from the air, the Angel is punching the Juggernaut, but he thinks it's like hitting a stone wall. He doesn't seem to feel it, and I'm sure he doesn't. Careful, Angel, says Cyclops. He's stronger than you suspect. Well, they should figure it out by now. Your legs, hollers Angel. Bend them under him. Use your back for leverage. Now kick. That's it. That's it. And so Cyclops kicks, but as Angel observes, he only moved back a few feet. Cyclops says, luckily I caught him slightly off balance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have budged. He's charging towards us again, says the Angel. Stand aside, partner. This round is mine. No, says Cyclops. This is no time for heroics. We'll take him together. Stay airborne, Angel. Keep it up, says Juggernaut. You're merely exhausting yourselves. Haven't you realized yet that I cannot be hurt or beaten? Thud, bark. The Angel strikes from above, and Cyclops grabs from below. Angel says, forgive us, Jug. We're just a couple of slow learners. So they try to tackle him. Meanwhile, throughout the metropolitan area, strange message impulses are being mysteriously received. Look at this airplane. The captain and co-pilot are saying, what's wrong, Phil? Is the radio acting up on you? No, Captain. Everything's A-okay. That's just it. Just what? I'm getting some sort of message loud and clear, but not through the radio. What kind of message could it be? And in one of the many teen brigade headquarters throughout the East, the message is also received, even by some youths who are not wearing earphones. I don't get it, asks one teenager. How can we receive a radio call with our set turned off? There hasn't been a sound, and yet we're all hearing it. It's got nothing to do with the radio. We're receiving a super powerful thought transmission. Wow, I guess it's Professor X's thoughts that have been released from his headset. Even with no radio receiver nearby to magnify the mental impulse, one man with extra keen auditory powers hears the uncanny sound in the midst of a crowded courtroom. And look, it's Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer, who's also Daredevil. The judge says, "Proceed, Mr. Murdock. I'm waiting for your cross-examination." But Matt Murdock is thinking, that strange mental call, something uncanny is taking place. If not for this trial, I'd change to Daredevil and trace it to its source. And then he says, "Sorry, Your Honor, I was just collecting my thoughts." While back at Professor Xavier's private school in Westchester, "Professor, let us rush you away from here while there's still time," says Marvel Girl. "No, Jean," answers the professor, "I can't run from the Juggernaut. If I'm unable to stop him, think what will happen when he invades the city." "Can't I go and help the others now, sir?" asks Iceman. "Very well," answers Professor. "Delay him all you can. Each second gained increases my own power." And at that moment, "The Juggernaut is free again," cries the Beast. "Cyclops and the Angel can't impede his advance. Jean, Bobby, why don't you whisk the Professor to some remote spot as a precautionary measure?" "Flight will solve nothing, my X-Men," repeats the Professor. "Join the others, Beast. Jean, remain with me." "But Professor," says Marvel Girl, "they may need me too." "Your chance will come, girl. For the moment, I need you here." "Careful, Iceman," says the Professor. "It will take more than a hastily formed frozen club to affect the Juggernaut." "Scamper, Bobby," says the Beast. "We're needed." Iceman says, there's gotta be some way to stop him. There's just gotta." So Iceman leaves with his icy bat. "Psych, I can't hold him," says the Angel. "He keeps charging forward no matter what we do. He's advancing against my force beam as though it doesn't exist." "I warned you," says Juggernaut. "You're merely mutants, but I received my power from the enchanted temple of Cyttorak. Nothing can stand in my way." So look, they're tearing the room apart. "Least of all a useless wing-flapping wonder boy like you." And he moves quickly and he grabs the Angel. Cyclops thinks, "I didn't realize he could move so fast." He snared the Angel. Oh no! Before Cyclops can redirect his powerful optic beam, the dreaded Juggernaut shoves his startled victim directly in its path. Fick! And so Cyclops' I-beam accidentally strikes Cyclops right in the back. Juggernaut says, "There, that will rid me of one petty annoyance." Oh, Cyclops says, "I just had time to weaken my beam's intensity. Luckily, Warren is merely stunned." But stunned as he is, Juggernaut just tosses him away. And now he says, "I'll let the rest of you costumed weaklings keep him company." "We've been threatened before, mister," says Cyclops, "and we're still here, while our threateners aren't. There's got to be some way to beat you, and we'll find it, or die trying." "That's very obliging of you," answers Juggernaut. "That's exactly the fate I had in mind for you. Just stand where you are a minute longer." "He will, big man, but you won't," says the Iceman. "The stairs beneath my feet," hollers Juggernaut, "they turn to ice. I am losing my footing." "Good work, Iceman," says Cyclops. "You're just in time." And even as the battle rages, teenager Johnny Storm climbs into a friend's racing car in a local garage many miles away. Look at that fancy car. Wow, Johnny likes it. Not a bad little crate you've got here, Charlie. I hope I'll be able to join you when you try her out on the salt flats. Oh, you'll probably be cutting around town after some nutty supervillain, Johnny. Beats me why anyone would want to be a costume crime fighter when he could spend his time with racing cars instead. Wow, someone could feel like a superhero in that racing car. You know something, fellas? Asks Johnny. I've often wondered the same thing myself. Maybe I'm a mental case and don't know it. Uh-oh. There may be more truth to that than I thought. Now I'm beginning to hear things inside my brain. No, I'm not hearing things. It's a mental thought wave. It's so strong I can almost touch it. Hey, Johnny, says a friend. What's shaking? You look like you sat on a tack. Clam up, you guys, says Johnny. Something's going on. I knew it. Any minute now he'll yell, flame on, and go flying out of here. It's from the leader of the X-Men. Now that he's made contact, he's beaming a message right to me. They're in trouble, big trouble. Hey, Johnny, says his friend, if you're going to daydream, do it at Dory's house, huh? I want to finish working on my chariot. But how can I be sure? Says Johnny. Reed warned me that any of our old enemies are apt to set all kinds of traps for us to prevent his wedding from taking place. Well, evidently, this story takes place before Sue and Reed's wedding. For all I know, Dr. Doom could be planting this thought in my brain, or the wizard. Anyway, I hesitated too long. The contact is fading away. I've lost it. Meanwhile, back at X-Men headquarters, we see Marvel Girl talking to the professor. Professor, what's wrong? What is it? Professor is frustrated. I accidentally reached the Human Torch. Then I thought of a way he could help us, but he didn't trust his senses, and I dare not waste too much mental energy by prolonging the contact in order to convince him. But what can the torch do that the rest of us can't? Our power is as great as his. True, Jean, but his is a different type of power, and combined with our own, it might just turn the tide. I must contact him again, even if it weakens me. Meanwhile, on the stairway, just outside the door, look! Iceman has the Juggernaut trapped inside a gigantic ice block. Juggernaut says, no matter how thick you make that ice pack, I'll break out of it. You're not battling some ordinary criminal now. And look, he flexes his muscles. And Cyclops says, look, he's cracking the ice. Boy, says Iceman, he sure comes on strong. Even though I know he can break out of this, I'll keep packing it around him to give you a chance to recharge your force beam, Cyclops. But we're only fighting a delaying action at best, answers Cyclops. If only there was some other way. Look, he's starting to glow with that aura of energy, or whatever he called it. Get back, Bobby, back. He'll crack open the entire ice wall at any second. Look. He's cracking the ice. What's going to happen next? Crack! Wow, he cracks it apart and ice boulders fly everywhere. Oh no, and they strike Iceman. Too late, thinks Cyclops. Those rock-hard chunks of flying ice struck him before he could dodge. And now the Juggernaut is free again. Now, says Juggernaut, I'll see to it that you never interfere with me again. Cyclops is resting on the banister. He says, it's still too soon to use my power beam, but if only the beast, he's Here, just in time. Stay with it, Bobby, says Beast. I'll impede his progress somehow. It's fortunate that I decided to hold myself in reserve in case your own combat machinations were unsuccessful. Whom, whom. He flings himself up against the wall as he bounds toward the Juggernaut to enter into the fray. And now that I've achieved sufficient impetus, I'll try to keep you from being too bored. And so he bounds through Juggernaut's outstretched arms. The Juggernaut can't grab him. And then he bounces back. Whoomp! After all, you are a guest, in a manner of speaking, and deserve a little attention. And so the Beast gives him some attention with his feet as he knocks him from behind. It doesn't matter how agile you are, says the Juggernaut. You can't stop me from advancing forward, and sooner or later I'll manage to grab hold of you. And the Beast says, now that's a depressing thought, if ever I heard one. And look at the Beast. He's bouncing all around. Thup, zit, whiz, wop, woost, bop, zit. And so he's spinning round and round the Juggernaut. Oh, it just makes me dizzy to watch. Oh, I'm so dizzy. I can't go on. I can't go on. Well, it's time for us to stop anyway. We're going to pause right here in the middle of this titanic battle between the Beast and the Juggernaut. But don't worry, we'll pick it up right here when we come back to finish the story about where walks the Juggernaut. All right, I hope y'all are enjoying this story. We'll be back soon. Love y'all. Bye-bye.